We are here for another episode of Faces of First Atlanta. I got the famous Jimmy Barron. How are you, sir?
Never been on Facebook Live.
Never been on Facebook Live? Well,
Nope.
Now you are, and you look the same. Welcome to technology, right?
Yeah.
All right. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd love to just kind of hear your story, your journey prior to getting into real estate. And tell me what I need to know. Let's hear the Jimmy Barron story.
Every one of us who is nobody grew up saying, when I grow up, I want to be a realtor. That's maybe, I guess, if your parents did it or whatever, but most people did not grow up wanting to get into this business. We came from other businesses.
Yep. I think Gary Keller did, but he was about it.
Okay, is that right? Did he? Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
But before this, I was in radio, and I had a 22-year radio career.
Yep.
Started in Southern California, worked its way down to San Diego, to Chicago, and then in 1993, I found myself in Atlanta, and was part of a morning show on radio station called 99X, which, if you're from Atlanta, or if you've lived in Atlanta for any number of years, you may remember that in the 90s and 2000s. And we were a very big rock station. And our show was a very significant part of Atlanta pop culture back in the 16 years I was on that station. Or actually, I was on that station for 13 years.
Yeah.
And it was
so did you get into radio? Did you get into radio intentionally?
No, never crossed my mind. I went to California after high school. I wanted to be an actor, and I went out to California. Okay. And did that for probably 5 or 6 years, and I had some minor successes. But I had enough. I'll tell you what, I had enough successes to know that it really wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I kind of got it out of my system. So,
got it.
So I ended up in radio, just by happenstance. And, most people start in radio and then they work up their way to TV and then, whatever, movies.
Sure.
Actually, most people start in business, and then maybe they do that to get into the entertainment business and start radio. I'm going opposite. I started at television, movies, went down to radio. Now I'm in business.
There you go.
So my next career move will probably be driving Uber. So I did.
There's nothing wrong with driving Uber, Jimmy.
No, there's nothing wrong with driving Uber.
They've saved me many a times.
No, I would not. I would say, though, if you're going from real estate to a career as an Uber driver, you're headed in the wrong direction. Uber is
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah, Uber is in fact, I think Uber is a phenomenal job for someone who is at the infancy of their real estate career and needs a flexible schedule and needs to make money. I think it's actually a great career or a great job. It's not a career, it's a job.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we had a very big show in the 90s. It was called The Morning X with Barnes, Leslie, and Jimmy. And we did everything. We met every celebrity out there. I went to every award show. We're at every concert, and it was an incredible life and lifestyle, and it was so much fun. Like most things in the entertainment industry, tastes change and decisions change, and that ended. I had gone to another station after that called Dave FM, and I was on the air for about 2.5 years, and but exactly 2 days before my 50th birthday, I was fired. The station was changing format. Everybody was getting let go. That's part of the life in radio. And, I just, at that point, I kind of realized, hey, I'm 50 years old, and, you know, the only thing, I mean, people have heard me say this before, the only thing that could be worse than getting fired 2 days before my 50th birthday would be getting fired 2 days before my 60th birthday.
Yeah. Okay.
And
There you go.
right, so, maybe I need to find something where I'm in a little bit more control of my future. I had just gotten divorced. I think I was going through divorce at the time, and there was like no way I was going to move to another city, which in radio is typically what you have to do. People, you bounce around, and there's just no consistency. And so my mom said, "Hey, you know what? You should get your real estate license." And I said, "Mom,"
Good old mom.
I said, "don't ever say that to me again. That is the worst idea you have ever had. I'm not getting my real estate license. I'm not going to sell things. I'm not putting on a suit every day to go to work. I'm not, like, I'm an entertainer. I tell jokes.
Yeah.
I make people laugh. What do I be a realtor and have my face on the side of a car and on my business card? Forget about it." So she said, "Well, didn't you just buy that investment property last year?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, why don't you just get your license so that if you buy more investment properties, you can do your own deals?" And I was like, "Okay, now that makes sense." And I took the course, and I actually thought it was kind of interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I found myself somewhat like intrigued by everything. And so I had also started this little video business at the time because it was clear I wasn't going to go back into radio, and I didn't enjoy that business. And a friend of mine, his name is Mark Golden. He has a brokerage, and he serves the Toco Hills, Emory area. He's very successful there, and old dear friend. He said, "Why don't you come work with me? I'll show you the ropes. I'll show you around." And I went and worked with him. And he mostly at the time was doing a lot of leasing and property management in addition to sales. But I worked with Mark for a couple of years, and I learned a lot of the language of real estate shadowing him. I was always in an office where real estate was being spoken. I learned about contracts. I learned about, he would take me on listing appointments, or even just I would show property, and just kind of understanding how to show property. After a couple of years, I realized that while that was okay, and I learned a lot, really, you need the resources that a company like Keller Williams offers to really understand how to sell real estate. If you're only working with one person or around one person in a small office, or two people, you're only learning their way of doing things. And what's great
Correct.
about this job is that there's lots of ways to do things. I mean, if you look at all the people in our office, Brett, we have so many different personalities and so many different, every person, whatever your personality is, like, that's probably how you conduct your business.
Correct.
There are people there who are very data oriented and who may not be, vibrant, vivacious personalities, but are very data driven people. And they're going to appeal to certain types of clients. Then you got people like me. I'm more of a people person, and I'm going to appeal to certain types. So,
no, I think you're bringing up a good point. We not only do we have the class and we teach the classes, but truth be told, you learn just as much, if not more, in the hallways.
There's no question about it.
Yeah,
there's no question about it. The biggest mistake a newer agent can make is staying at home and working out of their home office. You need to, and I realize right now it's a little bit different, but there's agents in the office now. But when I took Ignite, and that was still to this day, that's the best course I ever took. When I took Ignite, I remember just hearing from the top agents, and I said to somebody when I first walked in, I'm like, "Who are the top agents in this office? I want to know them. I want to become friends with them." And so I did. I became, good friends with people like, Michael Bunch and Eric Benjamin and Donna McClure and Lisa Vale and, the top producers, because that's where you learn. It's from the best. Like you say, being around the office, hearing deals go down, meeting, I can't tell you how many times I needed an open house covered, and like, person who just happened to walk into my office a few minutes ago to introduce themselves and say, "Hey, Jimmy, I just joined the office. I want to do an open house for you one day." Oh my gosh, I have one this weekend. Like,
Yeah.
if the person wasn't there, they wouldn't have done it. So Keller Williams with the, and that first year in Keller Williams, I may have tripled what I did my last year at my previous firm. So,
Gotcha. So what year did you get licensed?
well, I originally got licensed in 2007, but in 2007, there were very few things more worthless than a real estate license. So I just didn't do much with it. And I put it on ice till about 2011. And I kind of relicensed myself in 2011. Then I came to First Atlanta in 2013.
2013. Got it. So you've been with the office, what, 7 years, and
Yeah.
really 9 years humping it as a career, right?
Yeah. I mean, there was,
Perfect.
at the beginning, there was, the hardest thing about launching a real estate career is that point in time when it's time to take your toe out of the first pool and put both feet in the real estate pool. And it's hard to do, and it's scary.
Yeah.
I get nervous when someone tells me, I got licensed, I want to do real estate, but I also have a singing career, or I also am trying to launch a whatever business.
Right.
It's okay if you're doing those things just to make money, but like, you cannot make big money in this business unless you're all in. And
Right.
you have to get to that point in time when you're just gonna take that leap of faith and jump in.
I used to tell people you can't make career income unless it's a career.
Right, and
Yeah.
And a more country way of saying that someone once told me is that a dog that chases two rabbits can't catch either of them.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So,
Well,
same thing.
so take me back to this radio career for a minute. And if you're being introspective about yourself, what do you think your success habits or the traits that you brought to that career were kind of like your secrets of success?
That's a really good question, because I used to joke that the thing about doing morning radio was that it was an outstanding career, which gave me absolutely no transferable skills in the end.
Yes.
Like, nobody at UPS is looking to hire a guy who knows how to give away concert tickets,
Yeah.
But then when I really kind of become more introspective about it, and there's a little bit of chicken and egg going on here, but, being on the radio every day, interviewing people, talking to people, communicating with people, those are really important skills. Those are great life skills, but they're certainly great skills to have as a realtor. Understanding, being able to immediately identify a certain type of personality and speak to that personality on their level. When a celebrity would come into our studio, we had to instantly, or at least I had to instantly assess how to connect with this person. Does this person only want to talk about their new album or their new movie? Or is this person also, a lot of times they didn't want to talk about that. They just wanted to have fun. Right. And it's the same thing with realtor. I know we talk a lot about scripts and stuff at Keller Williams, but you can't go into every listing appointment or buyer consultant appointment with the same exact script and attitude and game plan.
Yeah.
Because everybody's different. You can't walk in to, let's say, the home of, an 87-year-old widow who's let's say, trying to sell her house of 50 years because she's moving into her, retirement, you can't walk in there with 30 pages of market stats. Like, that's not going to speak to her,
Right.
So I think that's it's being able to identify how to connect with people.
So connecting and how to relate to people, right? And
Yeah, it is. I do use my humor. As much as possible. We're dealing in a business where there's often high tension, where there's emotional decisions, where it can be combative, not just between buyer and seller, but sometimes between seller and seller or buyer and buyer. And you got to know,
or agent and agent,
and agent, and you got to know how to maneuver and play that. It's a lot of puzzle solving.
Yeah. So advice. How would you tell somebody to grow that skill set? What would you tell them to do?
I mean,
Go be on the radio?
Certain things you can't teach. You can't say, hey, go out and get a really good sense of humor and then you'll be good. You can't go out and get
right. You're a little too dry,
No, I mean, you have to, I think you have to understand what you're strong at, okay, really, and take advice from people. You may only see yourself in a certain light, but other people may see you differently, and you need to listen to those people. Again, going back to the first story, my mom told me to get a real estate license. She said, you'd be great at it. I pushed her away, and she was right. I love what I do. When I left radio, I was convinced that I would never find anything that would give me as much satisfaction, that would make me as happy, that would be able to bring me as, the financial rewards, okay? Because I didn't have a college education. I never went to college. And so to me, it was like, okay, I had a great 22-year career. If I could just find something where I could make half as much money, even if I'm miserable, I'll figure it out. That to me was going to be success. Success to me would be making a decent living, knowing I'd be miserable. And I ended up finding something that I love, that I actually could, and my income now is probably commensurate with what I was making in radio. The good news is, in radio, they tell you how much you're going to make every year. You negotiate a contract, and that's how much you're going to make. And then the next year, they may fire you. Here, the only thing that stops me from making more money is me.
Right. You're in control, right? And that was your whole goal in the beginning.
Yeah, because
Yeah. I want to ask you the same question about the real estate, though. If you're being introspective, what are those traits that you believe that you've honed that are like your success traits, right?
Right. Okay. So first of all, you have to have confidence, and because your clients need to believe that you are confident in everything. Most clients don't know how to buy or sell a house. I know a lot of them think they do, and a lot of them may, but it's rare that you do come across a client who is really as adept as they say they are. Sometimes you do, and it's great.
Yeah.
So you really need your client to believe that you are, that you have a handle on it. By the way, this is also in radio. People used to say, what do I have to be in radio to be successful? When you say something on the radio, people have to believe that you believe it. Like you have to own it. And when you look at the great radio people, look at Howard Stern. Howard Stern is successful because even if he doesn't believe everything he says, his audience thinks he believes everything he says. And that's
because of the way he projects his confidence, is what you're saying.
Exactly. So let me disconnect my phone here. Okay. So with real estate, it is the same thing. You need to you need to project a level of confidence. You need to understand and listen to your clients. What are their concerns? What are their goals? Remind them of what their goals are. Keep them looking at the big picture as much as possible. Deals fall apart because people fight over the washing machine,
Of course.
like, right? You see it all the time. Or I love this. Well, if I buy the house, I'm not going to pay $10,000 more for this house because it's not worth it. And I'll tell them, okay, how long are you going to be in the house? Probably 10, 15 years. Okay. Then 10,000, then don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about this for 15 years.
Yeah.
So is it worth the extra $10,000 for you to live in this house that you love, with this pool that your kids are going to swim in every day in the summer, that has this unbelievable kitchen, that has all these great features, over $10,000, which, by the way, is $40 a month on your
I was about to say, what's that a month? Yeah.
It's not even 40 with today's
Yeah.
rate. So it's about keeping them focused on the big picture, and and making them understand you're on their team. And you gotta sometimes remind them, hey, I am on your team. A lot of times clients, when you're trying to get them to give something up, they start thinking, wait a minute, is he on my side or not? I don't want to pay the extra $10,000. Is he on my side or not? Okay. Your side is trying to get you this house.
I love it. So 2 days before your 50th birthday, you got that news, right?
Yep.
What's 2 days before your 60th birthday going to look like?
Wow. Well, that's actually only in 14 months. So
I understand.
Yeah. So it's not like, this pie in the sky thing.
Yeah. What's the date?
November 13th.
So it'll be on November 11th, 2021.
Will be 2 days before my 60th birthday. Right. Correct.
Yeah. Where will we meet? Who will we meet?
So here's the thing about me, and this is a fault, I guess. I'm not good at looking into the future too well. This is not something I'm proud of. I mean, it's something that is a big focus of mine. I do tend to be more day to day than I should. It's worked out for me, but so
you're not a big planner, not a big goal setter, is what I'm hearing, right?
I'm not. I'm not a big goal setter. My attitude has always been, here's what I know I need to do to succeed. Do it. Okay. If it doesn't work, then you got to do something different, but keep doing what works.
Right.
Now, again, that's a little bit of a fault. I'm almost 60 years old. Like, I don't want to have that attitude when I'm 70. Like, I could probably do this the way I do it for another 5 or 10 years.
Sure.
But when I'm 70, what am I going to do? So, I've talked about growing, my team. I dabbled with it a little bit a couple of years ago. And honestly, I didn't really love it. Because I didn't love managing people and being responsible for people. But the truth of the matter is, if you look at the list on Brett Caldwell's door every month, there is a big leap in income between the number one individual agent and the number one team. I mean, it's a very dramatic increase. and then you go into groups. Now, I don't know
Well,
the
that's
number.
the 1 + 1 = 3, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know that everybody who's leading a team is necessarily. In other words, like I don't want to have a team just to make $20,000 a year more, or
Right.
even $30,000 a year more. That to me wouldn't be worth it. But uh, but that is something I still would like to think I can do.
All right. So I'm going to mark my calendar for November 11th, 2021 to call you, because here's the reality of this date. 10 years or 9 years ago, that was your joke.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure the joke's not on you a year and a half from now.
Okay.
Fair enough. So I'm going to mark my calendar, Jimmy. All right.
That's a great point.
If you were to write a book or give a TED talk, what would your subject be?
Bruce Springsteen.
Tell me.
No, that's my. I mean,
that's your hero.
That's my passion.
I gotcha.
But I mean, what would I give a talk about? I think it would be about. Maybe I touched on it before, about being open to what your possibilities are. People will pigeonhole you your whole life. Don't pigeonhole yourself. I've had a lot of people, Brett, that when I first started in this business, people said, oh, well, this is a slam dunk for you. I mean, you were on the radio for, 20 years. People know your name, and, you'll have people throwing yourself at you for business. Could not have been further from the truth, because I was pigeonholed. All of a sudden, Jimmy Barron, who was on the radio, jokey jokester for 16 years and making people laugh and doing crazy stunts and, all kinds of, wacky things. People aren't looking for that in a realtor. Like, right. Yeah, they may want to ask you, hey, what was the, coolest celebrity you ever met? But when it comes to buying or selling their house, no, they're looking for a professional. And so early in my career, I actually had very good friends, 2 in particular, very, very close friends, who bought and sold homes with other people. And I was devastated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was a stab. And it actually, drove a wedge between us for a long time. I understand it now. Like, I get it. I mean, now if they did it at this point, I'd be, little chapped, but
of course.
But it worked against, because people only saw me in that light. My early business came from door knocking and going to business meetups where people didn't know who I am, and I could actually convince people that I'm a realtor. And so it's about being open to seeing yourself in another light.
Get out of your own way, right?
Get out of your own way.
Yeah.
That's right.
Jimmy, I love your story, because it's not necessarily a conventional story, but you're right. You could have put roadblocks up the whole way in your journey, yet you had people like your mom that helped you take them down.
Yeah. And real estate isn't, I'm good friends with Mark Wohlers, who was the Braves closer when they won the World Series in '95. He was on that story team of, with Glavine and Smoltz and Maddox and, Chipper and all those guys. He was their winning closer. You know what Mark Wohlers is right now? A Keller Williams agent.
Is he?
Up in, I think Woodstock. Yeah.
Nice.
Or Canton or something. There are people, so I've always been a huge fan of professional wrestling. And
Wednesday nights.
Yeah. And there are former professional wrestlers who are now realtors. So it's not as crazy a transition as, people think. I actually, there are some folks that I've been trying to get into this business who are still on the radio. I've been trying to get them in for a long time, saying, look, dude, you're not doing this forever.
Yeah.
You're not going to be on the radio forever unless you want to move from here to Cincinnati and then St. Louis and then Portland and then, wherever.
Gotcha.
You want to do that the rest of your life.
Jimmy, I just can't tell you how much I appreciate your time and sharing your story with us. I really respect it. I'm going to ask you a weird question though. What is your prediction of the future of radio?
So radio has a very difficult future ahead of it for a number of reasons. First of all, satellite radio. Most people, their favorite music is right here.
Yeah.
So if your favorite music is right here, why turn to a radio station where they may play your favorite songs, but they'll definitely play commercials in between? So that's one problem. The other problem with radio, what made radio successful in its heyday was not the music, it was the personalities.
Yeah.
And because most big companies have not sunk any money into developing personalities anymore because they don't have the money to sink because radio revenues are so down. There just aren't any great personalities on the radio. So if the only difference between your phone or satellite is great personalities over here, but there aren't any more great personalities over here, then why are people gonna listen to this when they get the same thing over here for free? So radio's got some.
Advertising on the radio used to be a big deal. Realtors used to really target an audience with radio and do really, really well with it. What's the future of that in your opinion?
I get asked all the time if I want to buy, time on radio. There are a couple of companies that, a couple of names that do it, not most, but a couple. And for me, it's not, for the type of business I have, it's not money well spent because you're going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars and you're going to reach areas that you don't care about. So to me, it doesn't make any sense, let's say, to spend $10,000 so that people in Lilburn can hear me, because ultimately I'm not a Lilburn agent.
Yep.
I'd rather spend $5,000 hyper focused on my sphere, my farm, where I know where I want my business to be. Now, if I had a business with 30, 40, 50 agents that are spread out all over the metro, okay, so maybe that's a different conversation.
Yep.
But I like my business is mostly, Sandy Springs, Buckhead, Dunwoody, Roswell, Vine, that area. So it just doesn't make sense for me.
I gotcha. I'm just curious your take because you got an insider knowledge.
My former radio friends, kill me, but
So I'm supposed to cut this part out of the interview?
No, it's not a marketing plan that for me
that works for you.
And probably wouldn't work for most agents who tend to focus in, certain areas.
Got it. Jimmy, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to cut it out because we want to be respectful of your time. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Brad.
Have a good one.
You too.